the second leading cause of death for our state, but it's the first leading cause of death for our young people. Those numbers are unacceptable.
This is day 7 of the Bearded Brace Face. So I promised I'd talk about the event that I went to yesterday. I went to an Out of the Darkness walk for suicide prevention. I recently had a close friend of mine lose 2 of her brothers to suicide within a few months of each other. A group of us walked in their memory, as well as the memory of others that have chosen to leave this life or even just struggle with thoughts of suicide. Suicide and thoughts of suicide have this stigma that goes along with it that we need to break out of, and we need to forget this stigma.
We say the S word and we're not ashamed.
There was a man who talked about his brother who had taken his own life, and they were trying to figure out what they write in the obituary, whether they write he committed suicide or whether they write he passed away or he left this world. What do they write as like a cause of death?
We talked about it, and she allowed me to say in the obituary that we were surprised that he chose to leave this world.
Things like cancer, we would just say they passed away after a battle with cancer. But suicide, we're afraid, we're ashamed, we don't want to talk about it for whatever reason. Mental and emotional illnesses are a real thing. Just because these aren't illnesses that show up in an MRI or in an X-ray doesn't mean that they're not real illnesses. Most people in our culture wouldn't be ashamed to admit to having some other doctor-diagnosed illness. And that's not to take away or diminish the struggle that other illnesses are. I think that the danger is that there are people that haven't had experience with these type of illnesses, either with people in their immediate social circles or themselves. They have a misunderstanding of what this is, that you can just brush it off, that you just need to think more positively. It's deeper than that, and it's different. I don't know how personal I want to get with this blog, only because I don't want to diminish the intimacy of struggles that I've had personally. But at the same time, if sharing a certain amount of myself helps somebody else, then it's worth it. So I've had times in my life where I've battled with deep, deep depression. Most people would never imagine that I have struggled with depression. Depression tends to have this stereotypical look and feel, and a guy that's generally smiling all the time and making jokes doesn't really fit that mold. Things can get sad, things can get dark. It can feel like you're not yourself. There's a quote that I absolutely love. It's been attributed to several different people, so I don't know the original source. But it goes like this: if you have nothing to die for, then what do you have to live for? There's been times in my life where I've thought about this quote and I kind of reversed it and thought, what are the things in my life worth dying for? And I could list people and things for my family, for my freedom and freedom of others, for my beliefs. There are things in my life worth dying for. And if those things are so important for me that I'm willing to die for them, why not live for those things as well? That idea has given me the strength to wake up in the morning, to do the things that I need to do, to go one day more. So at this walk, they had different colored beads that you could wear that symbolized different things. And it was interesting because I sat there looking at the list of what each type of bead meant, and I looked at my friends and the beads that they took. There were colors of beads that would have applied to me, but I saw that none of my friends picked those up, and I was afraid. I was afraid of what they might think. I was afraid of what questions they might have for me. At an event, talking about getting out of the darkness and making these discussions, I was afraid of what people might think of me if they found out what that color of beads meant. And I'm sad to say I didn't pick up all the color beads that I should have. I picked the same 2 colors that all my friends picked. That way I didn't stand out and I wasn't different and there wasn't a stigma. Really, if you are struggling, talk to somebody. Reach out. There are people that love you. There are people that want you here. You can take a moment to pause, but don't let your story end. Like they talked about at the walk, suicide is a preventable death. There's a lot more I could say, but I'll just go ahead and end the vlog. I know my tagline is, I hope this wasn't horrible, but today, I don't really care if this was horrible, as long as the message came across.